bullshit narratives. That's the number one strategy. And that's the first step before taking out the goons. You gotta destroy the bullshit narratives. Once you destroy the bullshit narratives, then you can expose the real agendas. Once you expose the real agendas, you know who to target, you know what to look at, you know how to counter the angles, counter their strategies. And that's pivotal to dealing with your. It's vital to dealing with your. One of the biggest, longest running bullshit narratives that are going is the fake legacy of Michael King Jr. Along with the one where they freed you, along with the one where nonviolence works. Remember, Michael King Jr. was propped up by the government. Michael King Jr. was not a capitalist. He was paid $200,000 to give a speech written for him by the government. Jack O'Neill and Stanley Livingston were both government agents. JFK used them as the handlers of their pawn, Michael King Jr. Michael King Jr. was Martin Luther King. He was a pawn of the government. All right? That's narrative number one. Narrative number two is the fact that one of the main reasons you got your fucking rights, your freedom, was because Martin Delaney, who was trying to free blacks all through the 1820s, 30s, going so far as to try to galvanize blacks in Haiti, get blacks to go down there. But the American government started going down there, causing economic problems, which led to the situation that we have now. Then he went to Liberia. Then he realized that the Firestones ran Liberia. Liberia was nothing more than a placeholder for the West Memphis oligarchs to control the rubber industry there. So he knew he couldn't do anything there. So the only other place he could go to was the place of his ancestry, which was Yoruba land, where he's trying to outproduce the cotton that was being exported by the United States and the British colonies in Egypt. And it was working. It was actually working. He had got the land, he got the agreements with the over of Lagos, and he locked it in. He had international agreements to ship it out. Once England found this out, they did a punitive expedition on Lagos. They took out Echo, that's what it was called at the time. And then after that, later on, that's when they started working towards a punitive expedition, because Lagos was a part of the Benin Empire. And Benin, by that time, had stopped trading in slaves because, if you read the biography of Equiano, what the West Memphis oligarchs would tell these people is that they were taking them as indentured workers, they were going to educate them, they were going to teach them Christianity, all this bullshit, and then they bring them over as slaves. When Equiano got back, he told them what was really happening. That's why Benin stopped trading slaves. And then they started trading in palm oil, and they were making lots of money just doing that. And that pissed the West Memphis oligarchs off. Just like they don't talk about how Ashanti was trading in chocolate and making shit tons of money off of that. By the way, the slave trade that happens on the chocolate is run by the non-Jewish Swiss, white Swiss, locked in, 100%. Anyway, so there's that narrative. Another fake narrative that the West Memphis like to push is that the white men fought for your freedom, and they were doing it for you and all this. But that's complete bullshit. They conscripted a bunch of Irishmen from Ireland, as well as some from America, under the basis that if they won for the Union, they would get land allotments. Enslaved, the whites that were enslaved or indentured servants would get compensated, and they would get paid to catch blacks. So that's what they did. They fought for that. Now there were some benevolent whites that were doing it for the good and all that. But Andrew Johnson, Lincoln's vice president, shut all that shit down right after the war. He's the one. Because I'm going to tell you something. With all this muddied water, and that's what Republicans do with their media, is they like to muddy the water. Abraham Lincoln was killed for giving niggas resources. Flat the fuck out. When he gave blacks all those resources, that's why they said he has to go. All this shit about a bank and the Federal Reserve and all that nonsense, that's bullshit, just like JFK. JFK was killed because he was investigating too hard in Dimona, and he was trying to take out the funding to Israel. That's why they killed his brother. So there's another fake narrative knocked out. But when it comes to Lincoln, when he gave those niggas resources, that's why they took him out, because giving blacks resources is seen as a cripple. Alright? On top of that, he gave them guns, because, like I said, Delaney set up those deals, set up the trade agreements with international countries, Scotland, over to China, and a couple of other places, that would have produced enough output to not only build up the need even more, making them an economic threat in Africa, but at the same time, it would outcompete with America's labor. That would put them in a shit position, because they'd have to find a way to produce more slaves. And since England was blocking slavery, or blocking slave trade from America from Africa to Americas, because that was fucking with their colonies, buddy. That's a real reason, because they had slaves in Africa. They don't want to talk about that either. Once they saw the possibilities for all that shit, they started closing ranks. So that's why they did those punitive expeditions. Took out the King of Lagos, annulled every agreement that Martin Delaney made, and took the land. So he came back to America. And what he did when he got to the United States was he found out he was trying to find another strategy, trying to figure out what his next move was going to be, freeing the blacks. You can look all this shit up. This guy was the real deal, and he was Europe. After all that shit happened, the Civil War rumblings started popping up. He went to Abraham Lincoln, and he was like, look here, Jagged Daddy, we need the straps, arm the slaves, so we can run up on these motherfuckers and get the deal going. And Abraham Lincoln acquiesced. GTG, and the full deal went popping off. It was busting caps, it was busting noggins open. Some of those slave masters have ran off. Some of those families on the farms that ran off, remember, a lot of the masters use those places as summer homes and as winter homes. Most lived in the north, or they lived in France, they lived in England, places like that, Germany, far away. Same thing they do now, where they don't actually live here. They just have like a house somewhere on like Park Avenue. But they'll live in like Saudi Arabia or Israel or Italy or some shit. Same thing. Nothing's changed. But the point is, these narratives are fake. They didn't fight for you. They fought because the government was going to get the money, so to keep the Union intact, keeping it from being separated, maybe manipulated by England towards the Union. You got your freedom because Martin Delaney talked me to giving you guns. They negotiated 40 acres and a mule because you had the guns. They lost the 40 acres and a mule because they killed Lincoln because he gave you the guns and the resources. And then Andrew Johnson reneged on everything, pulled the troops out, the troops that did stay because they just thought it was a fucked up situation, were threatened with their lives. So they were like, yo, man, feel for you, but we're not going to die over this shit. Peace. So they dipped out. You can read it. You can research all this shit yourselves. And then, that's when the government-sponsored terrorism began, and they started killing you. They started arming the Klan. They started making agreements with the slave masters to reimburse them for their losses. And since you guys already had skilled labor, they locked you out of the free market, because the market's not free. Never, ever believe that the market's free. It's not. There's no such thing as a free market. Capitalism is a lie. It's just white supremacy. So they locked them out of the market, locked them out of the labor market, and then brought people from like Germany and Russia to train up white workers. That's one of the reasons that they don't like universal health care. Because if they can get great health care through companies that don't hire blacks, it keeps blacks from resources. You understand? I know a lot of black people want to hear this. I know a lot of you want to be a part of white supremacy. You want to be accepted by white people. You're never going to be. People don't fuck with you like that. They don't like you. They shoot you in the face. Remember the kid that was shot in Torrance, California not too long ago? Who was the first thing they said to the guy? He said, "What are you doing here?" Before he can answer, they blew his fucking brains out because it's a race war. And they don't fucking like you because they're your enemy. And as long as you try to take this peaceful route created by the government, parodied by a fucking moron named Martin Luther King, you're never going to get anywhere. Shit doesn't work. The only reason it worked in India was because England was going broke and they couldn't afford to hold off that colony anymore. Just like they could barely afford to hold on to Kenya. They were running out of money, man. They were running out of money. It's like the Soviet Union ran out of money. That's why America's holding on to the petrodollar. You really think it's about restoring democracy in Venezuela? It's about the petrodollar. Ever since 2014, Russia came in 2014. Russia came to talk to Venezuela. Like, look, bro, we'll help you out. We'll help out with your refineries. We'll help you build up your economy. We'll give you loans. Because we know America and England are stealing your shit. And that's why they're down there. China needs oil, so they know the deal. But the Koch brothers and the U.S. government are working lock and step, along with Exxon, BP, all the Anglo elites. Same faces over and over and over. When you peel back the layers, and you see who's causing the harm to indigenous people and blacks. It's always white people. Remember Trujillo in the Dominican Republic? Who was behind it? The United States military, when they slaughtered all the blacks. That was America's idea, pushed through a pond. Same as Sankara and all that, when they slaughtered those leaders, France did. They did it behind the scenes. They get a pond up front, they write the agenda for the pond, and then they take the guy out. Every fucking time. They write the agenda. And then they execute it through a pond. They initiate it through a pond every time. So this is no different. This is another one of those situations. So they want to take him out. They want to reverse everything he did because they hated the idea that that Chavez built up the Venezuelan economy with their own resources, with their nationalized oil. Because everything else is privatized, just like Norway. Everything else is privatized in Norway is when the country starts taking down. But, yeah. Once they do that, create these false narratives. And then what you end up doing, and I've always talked about this, you end up arguing bullshit. You end up arguing bullshit with these people. Because they control the narrative. Because they set up the bullshit narrative. So you're arguing within the framework of their bullshit ass lie. But if you destroy the entire narrative and you argue from a stance of truth, there's nothing they can do. Then once they're exposed, then you know who to look at. That's it. You understand what I'm saying? So when you take away Martin Luther King's backing, when you take away Michael A. Dyson's bullshit, when you take away Al Sharpton, the government informant's bullshit, take away Louis Walcott's bullshit, that's when you see what the issue is, and that's when you know who to break off. See, When you argue the narrative of MLK, he's some sort of freedom fighter, he's some sort of hero who shook up the establishment, they'll argue with you all day, especially on here. If you argue that Lewis Walcott's some kind of real threat, and that he's a racist causing racial division, oh, they'll entertain that bullshit all damn day. And we can't F you and F him, and you guys are just spreading hate to you, blah, blah, blah. But if you argue the fact that he was a pawn of the government that killed Malcolm X, that he's a Scientologist, if you argue the fact that Al Sharpton's an FBI informant who used to target black entertainers, try to get them set up, that he funnels money from the black community to whites via his ambulance chasing, and he's put out there to dissipate energy from black movements. If you argue that shit, they just flag you and get you out of here. You know, okay, this guy's got to go. You can't talk about that shit. I need you to focus on the straw man bullshit, not the reality. So you got to knock these narratives out. The best thing to do right now is to target the Venezuelan narrative. See, because, like I said, Chavez got a narrative. We took that piece of shit Cordero out. He won by a goddamn landslide. Alright? Landslide. First thing he did was nationalize the oil. Then he paid off all the debt owed to the IMF and the World Bank and cut off ties with them. That means he's locked out of the petrodollar game. And that's when they loaded up the straps and got the heat from that ass. They've been trying to take the country ever since. So in 2002, they couldn't take it no more. And they said, fuck it, we already illegally invaded Iraq. We already illegally invaded Afghanistan. Fuck it, let's go in here and take this guy out too. And what happened was, the citizens, big GTG, they were out there with straps busting at these bitch-ass American motherfuckers. And then he had some SEALs hidden in the palace, chased those pieces of trash into the streets. Citizens beat their fucking ass. Capriles got his fucking jaw cracked. They put him on house arrest. Because that's what happens when people actually support their government. See, if they wanted him gone, he would have been gone. Just like the sun. Yeah, morons on here actually saying stupid shit like the Alawites are oppressing the Sunni Muslims. And then when you pointed out, when I pointed it out, the Sunnis make up the entire military. They've got all the straps. How are you gonna oppress the people with the goddamn weapons? You can't. So when I did that, they did what they always do. They put the video on private and said I had false tags, but I rarely use tags. Rarely do I use tags unless I'm doing a troll beat. I almost never fucking use tags because I don't give a fuck who does this. This is for me. It isn't for me. So I don't give a fuck who sees it. So I save them all. But if somebody gets inspired by doing it, hey, that's great. But these are for me. So all this information I've already got. It's all saved for me because it's for me. Anyway. Where the hell is it? Yeah, so anyway, these narratives are bullshit. And once you cut down enough of their narratives, you're left with the beast itself. And that's where we are now. Stop bullshitting. Start cutting these narratives down, research and expose these fucking monsters. Beach.